All right, it is time to talk Jets. I'm still got the residuals from the tailgate, boy green, my Gotham rivals hat there, talking all things Jets. It wasn't fun in terms of the game. It was fun in terms of the tailgate, but it is time to break it all down, unfortunately, and talk about it from a football perspective primarily, and we do that every week with our Jets insider. Let's welcome in the great Jake Asman. What's up, Jake? How are you?
What's up, guys? Always fun to join you. Never fun to talk about the Jets, though.
We could talk about the tailgate for the whole show. If you want. That was fantastic. Lots of food was eaten and drinks were consumed, and it made us a little numb, dare I say, for that Cowboys butt whooping of the Jets. But we got to get into it, Jake. We have to talk about it, and we have to break it down and figure out what's next. We were talking a little bit on our live show this morning about it. I think at some point, I don't think Aaron Glenn is in any peril right now. It's just way, way too early to even think about that. But is his defensive coordinator, Steve Wilks, in peril? And does that come into play at some point? Because I have to honestly say, and I said this before the game against the Cowboys, but this just accentuated it one more time. This defense is just not playing well. It's just not working.
It's awful. I mean, to me, they're the worst defense in the league right now. I mean, there's talent on this defense, which is why I think it's just so depressing. All right. The reason why people didn't think the Jets were going to be great this year was not because, you thought the defense was going to be historically inept, which is what they are, by the way. They're literally the first team in NFL history to go winless through 5 weeks and not have a turnover. You thought it'd be, their offense would struggle to score points. Fields would play awful. And while he has not been great, and some of the numbers certainly are being put up in garbage time, the biggest issue by far with this team is the defense. They're constantly in holes. They never force a turnover. They are getting beat with just fundamental things that just you can't do if you're a professional football player. Guys out of position, guys not knowing how to tackle. They missed 13 tackles, Jim, in the first half on Sunday. 13. It looked like they quit on their defensive coordinator, which is a poor reflection of the head coach 5 games in. So, look, a year ago today, they fired Robert Saleh after they lost in London. Here we are a year later, and if the defense gets lit up by Sean Payton and that offense with the Denver Broncos, could I see Wilks being fired? I suppose it's possible. He could be demoted. I think Aaron Glenn needs to be more involved with his defense. He got hired because of his success in Detroit, coordinating that defense. He's got to take over and be that guy for this team. And if it doesn't change and another poor showing, I think everything is on the table for sure.
Which would make a lot of sense. Speaking of things that are on the table, what about selling? The NFL trade deadline is less than a month away. There's some players that are on the last years of their deal. Breece Hall, Quincy Williams, players of that nature. And there's bigger decisions or conversation had with Quinnen Williams. He's 27. He only has $5 million left in guaranteed money on his contract beyond this year. And you have to make a choice. Okay, are we just repaying Quinnen Williams and he's awesome? Or are we potentially flipping him for a massive haul to see if it can pour some accelerant on another rebuild here for the Jets? Where do you stand on the Jets being sellers at the trade deadline, which is coming up next month, and who potentially could be in that conversation?
I would be open to trading anyone, but I would not try and trade Quinnen Williams now unless I'm getting an unbelievable offer. I just don't think it sends the right message to the rest of the locker room when you trade away the longest tenured Jet, team captain. I don't think you could do that if you're Aaron Glenn. You're trying to change the culture, so you're giving up and selling and trading away arguably your best defensive player. I don't think they could do that. Now, his brother, if he's healthy, is a free agent at the end of the year, so that's an interesting conversation. I'd be open to listening. on Breece Hall. I didn't want to trade Breece, but if they're out of it, which at 0-5, they're out of it. Those conversations are real, and he's a free agent. So it makes it more complicated now to do that, Paul, because Braylon Allen unfortunately got hurt and he could miss the rest of the year. But look, they could be bad with Breece Hall, and they could be just as bad without Breece Hall the way they have played. So as much as I don't want to trade him, if a team offers you a 3rd-round pick, the Chiefs say, hey, we're a running back away from being the best team in the AFC again, we're making that move, I think you got to do it if you're the Jets, as sad as that is.
Jake, another thing that I saw, and we were at the game live, obviously, is you get a different perspective when you're sitting at a live game and you're watching from overhead. And one of the things that I noticed, and I'm going to assume it's been a bit of a problem this season, is Justin Fields just holding on to the ball too long. He's not a kid anymore. He has to play a little bit more like a veteran player, even though he's still an evolving player. There has to be some veteran savvy inside his head at this point after all he's been through. And yet time and time again, or especially in the first half of this game, he just was holding on to the ball for 5-6 seconds, and then you get sacked. You can't escape everything. You can't run away from everything. You just have to say, it's not open. Throw it out of bounds. Dump it.
Totally agree. This just might be who he is, right? Like, honestly, the one thing that hasn't surprised me about the Jets this year is Justin Fields has been exactly what I thought they were getting. Like, he has not taken that step forward. You could win with him if your coaching's good, which for the Jets, it hasn't been. You could win with him if you have a good team around him, which for the Jets, I don't think it's as good as we thought. And certainly the limitations without having a true number 2 wide receiver, that remains a huge issue for this team. But he hasn't taken really that next step. I think the one thing they should do is allow him to be more involved as a runner. I think they should design more just plays where he is the playmaker. He's the ball carrier. I don't think we've seen that a lot. Maybe it has something to do with the concussion he suffered against the Bills. They haven't run him as much since that point. We certainly saw him run a lot against Pittsburgh in week 1. Look, the Jets are designed to play in games where they're within a score or they have the lead. Like, that's when the game script can work. That's why their best performance was week 1 against Pittsburgh when, oh yeah, they happened to score their last first half touchdown in that game. So the overall numbers for Fields don't look bad, but you're at the game, you're watching it, how long he holds onto the ball, how inefficient they are in the first really 3 quarters of these games. It's a problem. I mean, you remove that Pittsburgh game, and I saw a stat from the New York Post that's hard to believe. They're averaging 6 points per game and 170 total yards since week 1 in the first 3 quarters of games. That includes Tyrod's start against Tampa in week 3. It's bad. I mean, the defense is horrific. So I think the offense kind of gets a bit of a pass from a lot of the scrutiny and criticism, but they haven't been very good either.
So Justin Fields did hold on to the ball very long periods of time when we're watching their Jets Cowboys. It's hard to ignore, especially with our end zone view where we're seeing what Justin Fields is seeing from that side. That was tough to see. You mentioned that the lack of a clear wide receiver 2 on this team. How much of it do you think that's potentially a contributor? Sure, Justin Fields has had this criticism of holding onto the ball for long periods of time his entire career. But if no one besides Garrett Wilson is creating that separation, maybe he's holding on to the ball because who else am I throwing the ball to? Is that at all a big factor in this, Jake?
Yeah, I think the Jets were always going to run into this problem if it didn't look good, because we could easily say, well, how do you evaluate Justin Fields if he doesn't have the full complement of weapons around him? And I think some of that is fair. I also think we have to use our eyes. Does Justin Fields look like a guy who's truly processing and taking the next step? It's 5 games. He hasn't started all 5. He started 4 of them, got hurt in 1 of them. I got to see more, but he kind of is what he is. Like right now, and honestly, if they keep losing, it doesn't really matter, because if they're picking in the top 3, they're taking a quarterback anyway. So he might be on the team next year because he's under contract and he's the bridge. But, this 0-5 start and the fact that the Jets are all alone with the number 1 pick in the draft right now, they're going to take a quarterback if it keeps headed this way. It really doesn't matter what Justin Fields does or who he's throwing to, because they're going to reset and take a quarterback like every team picking number 1 does.
Let me talk to you about systems a little bit, Jake, because look, we're talking about a guy is what he is, right? And Fields has been several places, so maybe that's a pretty fair assessment of him. But to look at, say, Daniel Jones this year, he goes into a new system. Look at what he's become. Sam Darnold, we saw a complete transformation last year, and we're seeing it again, repeating now in Seattle. This really seems to be something about put a quarterback in the right system. We see it in San Francisco all the time. Now we're seeing it with both quarterbacks out there. Like, the right system seems to work when a quarterback has talent. And all of these guys are clearly talented. They were all drafted in the first round. And yet they fail in places like New York in 2 of those instances. And they go someplace else and they're great success stories, or at least it seems like they're going to be if they're not already.
Yeah, I think it's all fair. That's why I question the coaching, but even like beyond what you're saying, Jim, about the offense, you could say the same thing about the defensive coaching, right? Like, Jamien Sherwood looks unplayable right now. This guy was voted team MVP last season. He was good. Like, I was fully on board with the Jets re-signing him. I thought it made sense. He was a good young player. I was glad that Aaron Glenn saw on tape what we saw as fans last year, and they wanted to bring him back, even though they didn't draft him or develop him, right? Like, this team, they extended Sauce Gardner. They chose, for whatever reason, to keep Michael Clemens, who you guys saw in person, has no idea what he's doing, has no idea whether they're running it or throwing it, bites on the fake every time. They chose to keep Tony Adams, who has the audacity to be celebrating a play late in this one after his team has been getting dominated for the first 3 quarters. That drove me nuts. they chose to re-sign Isaiah Oliver. They chose to give Brandon Stevens the $36 million contract and replace DJ Reed. So, like a lot of the guys, even Michael Carter, who's been hurt, he was having an awful year, and he's been really good. Like some of these guys who were good players under the previous defensive staff, they've regressed and they're terrible. So the same things we could say about offensive coaching, not putting these quarterbacks in the right spot or enough talent around them to prosper. I think we're seeing that directly happen with the Jet defense, and it's why they've been so bad so far through these first 5 weeks.
All right, Jake. Things are not great. The Jets are 0-5. They're the only winless team in football. A lot of bad. But how about this, okay? Let me throw this at you. Give it a spin. Tell me how you feel about it. They're going to London. They're already in London. They made early travel this week for international.
They touched down in London, which hopefully is not their only touchdown this week, Boy Green.
We can only hope. So with them all there, they're all in the hotel. It's like a college trip where they're all gathered up. They're not in their houses. That there's like this potential bonding experience here where it's them against the world. They've been terrible, and now is the time where they could sort of rally here. Is there anything to be said for that as they're in London all together here on this international trip, and they have this unique bonding experience all together that maybe they can find something here? Because you mentioned that there are these players on the team that have had success in previous stops. Or previous, like the previous regime, rather, and now they're all here. Can there be a rallying cry found, perhaps, in international waters?
I don't see it. I mean, can it happen? Yeah. I mean, you know, it is the NFL. It's football. But I mean, right now, what would give you any confidence that the Jets' game plan from Steve Wilkes and whoever else is involved in it? I hope the head coach is more involved in it. Is going to be able to slow down Sean Payton and the Broncos. They're going to outcoach the heck out of the Jets. And Denver just beat Philadelphia. So I don't see it. Could the Jets maybe keep it close for a little while? Sure. I mean, you see that in the NFL, but I don't know how they win this game. In fact, to me, this is one of those games where if it's ugly enough, it goes back to what we were talking about at the start. If it's ugly enough, do we see someone get fired after it? Like I thought the Dallas game was like, someone's got to be fired after this. If they now double down with another one of those type of performances and Woody's, home away from home, I could imagine something could happen if it's that bad. It's kind of my feeling right now. I hate to be this negative. It stinks, but what have we seen through 5 games that should make anyone feel confident or encouraged?
So our Inside the Jets segment, Jake Asman, ESPN New York, and of course the Jake Asman Show. Today's broadcast brought to you by our friends at Play It Again Sports. Let's just take 30 seconds, learn a little bit more about our friends from Play It Again.
Warm weather sports season is here, and if you want to gear up and save money on some of the top brands of golf, soccer, and baseball equipment, and much more, Play It Again Sports can be your solution. With both new and gently used gear, Play It Again has prices way less than regular retail stores. And for all you golfers out there, get some quick money for those clubs you've got stashed away and are collecting dust. Play It Again is always looking for quality gear. No appointment necessary. Just bring it into the store. Play It Again Sports in the DeWitt Town Center on Erie Boulevard. Don't spend more. Play it again. Play It Again Sports. Syracuse.com.
All right, talking with Jake Asman. It's the Manchild Show with Boy Green at MC Show Digital. Again, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and also hit the like button if you love our video. We love for you to do that as well so we get exposed to more people out there in that wonderful world called the internet. All right, talking with Jake Asman, all things New York Jets. All right, Boy Green kind of intimated it earlier, Jake. The trade deadline is a month down the road here. Are there any moves to be made? I mean, when you are a team that starts 0-5, that has all the problems right now that the Jets have, from the coaching staff right on down through the players, what do you do? I mean, do you sit back? Do you try to make some moves? Do you start strategizing from a financial standpoint to set yourself up for better success next season? Give me some thoughts about how the Jets might plan as they head towards the trade deadline here.
Look, I think anyone who's an expiring contract, anyone who's a free agent, you have to consider, right? I mean, the most notable name is going to be Breece Hall. If they want to go down that route, I think he would have been gone if Braylon Allen didn't get hurt and the season continued to play out like it's gone. Do they want to trade Breece? Have they determined that they're definitely not bringing him back? I mean, you do have the franchise tag, you have cap space. Like, you're probably going to have a rookie quarterback starting for you next year. It might be nice to have a legit running back staple of him and Braylon Allen. Plus, you're not paying Fields a lot of money, so you could keep him and still have a rookie quarterback, and you have plenty of financial flexibility to add pieces around that young QB who's going to take over at some point. I think that's the biggest question. What do they do with Breece Hall? Do they win some games right before the trade deadline to maybe kind of calm the tension in the fan base and be like, okay, we know the team is bad, but they're showing us something. Let's keep the team together here. Let's not divide the locker room by making it clear we're waving the white flag by trading away one of our best offensive players. I don't think they're going to trade Quinnen. I know that's the other name people will talk about. I'd be very surprised if they did that. I wouldn't do it either. I think if you're going to deal Quinnen Williams, that's a move you wait to do in the offseason when every team can get involved and consider it. Like the value you're going to get for Quinnen at the deadline, I don't think it changes if you wait to the offseason. I think you maybe could get more in the offseason as teams kind of figure out, are they all in, what they want to do? Are they a Quinnen away from winning the Super Bowl? Like, I think you want to wait on a player like that who's under contract. Whereas Breece is a free agent. If you determined you're letting them walk, you might as well get something for him, given how bad it is.
Although I guess Jerry Jones would disagree with you, Jake. He said, the Micah Parsons thing, I had him exactly where I wanted to maximize the value. Also, what do you think of that? Flipping the bird at a Jets fan, although he said he meant to do a thumbs up, but it accidentally was a middle finger instead. Have you ever made that mistake as well?
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Man, I've never done that, but that is a great excuse. Hopefully, if I ever use it, it doesn't cost me. What do you get fined? $250K for that?
Yes. That's correct. Yes.
Yep. I know that's like ashtray money for Jerry, but for me, that's a lot of money right there. So hopefully, if I ever use that as an excuse, I don't get fined $250,000 because I don't have that currently.
No. Well, what do you think though of Jerry Jones? Flipping the bird after the Cowboys' final touchdown. The Jets have sort of been the butt of jokes, unfortunately, all season for all kinds of memes and jokes. And Jerry, one of the most influential owners in sports, giving us the middle finger. It sort of feels appropriate for how the season has gone so far.
Yeah, probably not the best look for an owner to do that. Does it bother me that he's messing around with fans or probably yelling stuff at him? Like, no, but I'm also immature, so I don't really care. I'm sure someone somewhere is outraged about it. I anything that happens off the field, I don't care. I'm just focused on this team not looking like an absolute national embarrassment for how many years in a row now.
Jake, a little tangential question here, but he's a former Jet, so I think it's appropriate to ask. Joe Flacco gets traded. This just
boy.
He's going to go in there, and they think he's going to start in Cincinnati to try to hold this thing together in the wake of Joe Burrow obviously being hurt. Give me your thoughts about this trade that was made, and does Flacco, dare I say, I think we've asked this 20 times over the last 5 years, have anything left in the tank?
So I don't know if he has anything left in the tank. I do know this. He will have plenty left in the tank when the Jets play the Bengals, because that's how this season from hell is going. If you look at each week, the Jets have played a prominent former player or coach, and they've lost every week. You could point to former Jets on all these teams. This week, it's going to be JFM and this Sean Payton stuff from a couple of years ago with him versus Nate Hackett. Like, there's always something. So, like, now with Flacco going to Cincinnati, he's going to play well against the Jets, just like he torched the Jet defense in that Thursday night game in 2023. They lost to Darnold last year. They lost to Geno. They lost to Flacco a couple of years ago. They'll lose to him again. Like, you could just see, like, the season from hell, all, like, the former Jet storylines. Like Elijah Moore, who stinks, is doing backflips after scoring a garbage time touchdown against the Jets in week 2. We know what happened week 1 with Rodgers, like Todd Bowles in week 3. Like, it's just, it never ends, man. So, yeah, I think Joe Flacco going to the Bengals. I don't know if he has a ton left. It's probably better than Jake Browning, but I know he has a lot left when they play the Jets on October 26th. That's for sure.
Do other teams go through this? Because I saw someone tweet at me because Brian Schottenheimer last week was asked about his Jets journeys, and he was telling stories, and I tweeted out the clip, and I saw people responding like, wait a second, another revenge game? Like, good Lord. And then it made me think, like, do other teams deal with this on a week-to-week basis?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. Right?
Okay,
it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah, this kind of just feels like the life of rooting for the worst franchise in sports right now, honestly.
I mean, you gotta picture this in your mind, Jake, right? So I'm at this game. I haven't been at the Meadowlands in a while. I'm there. The Jets are playing the Cowboys. I hate the Cowboys, so I'm there I'm rooting against the Cowboys no matter what. I'm a diehard Jet fan on that day. And like what blows my mind in analyzing and looking at the Jets and then their fans is here I am. I'm sitting with 69 other people that are all diehard or almost all diehard Jet fans. And Breece Hall breaks off that run, and he gets all the way down. It looks like he might go, and then he gets down inside the 5, and then, mysteriously, the one guy that's playing well in that game coughs it up. that turnover leads to flipping the field. They go all the way down the field. They score, and the whole game flips. This 14-point swing that really swings the game. And when those kind of things, and that happens several times in the game with goofy stuff, I'm just looking down the road, Jake, at the 69 people, and I'm just like, man, I feel for these people. This isn't right. Something's wrong with this. This shouldn't happen. And this is, like you said, it's like rewind. It just feels like you just keep hitting the same button over and over again. And it's just another way of finding a way to lose. I mean, is that truly something that's Jet, or is that just truly something of bad teams, maybe, to categorize it more generally?
Well, it's definitely a Jet thing, because they're a bad team, right? Like the Jets wouldn't be the first team that has been this bad that, was able to figure it out, hopefully, at the end of all this at some point. Like the Lions were that, and that's what Glenn will point to because he's from there. I'm a Knicks fan. The Knicks, for most of my life, were one of the biggest laughing stocks in sports. Fired the team. Chance read their owner, James Dolan, every time he made a public appearance at the Garden. No one's doing that now because he finally hired Tom Thibodeau and Leon Rose, and over the course of several years, they got better and improved and resurrected the franchise, and now they're one of the NBA favorites to win the championship going into the year. So, like, the thing it all comes down to is, did Woody Johnson hire the right people, right? Is Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji, are they the right people to fix this? I'm very concerned 5 games in, but the best thing I could say for Glenn, I've been saying this all week on my YouTube show, I can't give you a ton of positives, but I can give you one big positive. It might not sound like a positive, but it is. He still has 12 games left to try and figure this out. He's not going to get fired in season. He's going to get the full year. Now, if he wins like 1 game or 2 games, he might be one and done. That's a real conversation. We don't have to have that now. But there's 12 games left, and they've been getting – what concerns me the most, guys, they've been getting worse since that first game, where some wanted to do the moral victory stuff. I was never about that because I knew you got the Bills week 2. It all could go away quickly, and they didn't even show up for that one, which to me was alarming and the start of my real concern. So it's getting worse, not better. If they could play a competitive game Sunday, that's at least something. I mean, they've been non-competitive in all these games. I don't care what the final score says. Anyone who's watching the games, as you guys were, unfortunately, in person, you know what that final score actually was. It was 30-6 in the fourth quarter before garbage time. Like, they're not in these games. It's bad all around.
You're just going to laugh because I don't know what other emotion you want from me. I'm going to start crying in the fetal position.
It's either laugh or cry. So you might as well laugh. It's much better. All right, Jake. Always good to talk to you, my friend. Thank you for doing these chats with us every week. We hope there are better times ahead. And
we'll get worse.
We'll just hope and pray. But it will be a London visit this week, and so at least we can talk about the fanfare of London, the double-decker buses, and other thing that I could come up with if the football really is as bad as we hope it's not going to be. All right, Jake. Thanks as always, man. Great talking to you.
You got it, guys. And by the way, I was at the London game last year, and I'll tell you what, I actually think since the Jets are the home team this year, and you guys just experienced like half the building being all Cowboys fans, the Jets might have a better home field advantage in this game in London than they would at MetLife. I swear, because there'd be a ton of Denver fans that'd be at MetLife. They travel really well, and the fan base is so downtrodden right now. Those UK Jet fans are passionate. They don't get to see the Jets in London that often. There's going to be, I think, some energy in the building. Can the Jets capitalize on that? I'm not picking them, but that's like if you want something positive on the way out, maybe the Jet fans in the UK can bring some energy.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah, that was annoying, all those Cowboys fans in that building. I have to admit, hearing cheering when the Cowboys are doing things, I was like, what's going on here? Let's just start a riot right now. Okay. Anyway, Jake, thanks as always. We'll see you next week, buddy.
You got it, guys. Thanks for having me.